Anyway, let's get started here, and then I'll get to all the other stuff in a second. I gotta go pee.
Intensifying, with Israel hitting the compound of the group responsible for choosing Iran's next supreme leader. The strike reportedly obliterated a compound where an Iranian council was supposed to elect the new Ayatollah. Now, Iran state media is reporting that it was evacuated before the attack, and President Trump is saying that it's now even more unclear who might next lead that nation.
Do you have someone in mind right now? Because you said all the people you did have in mind have been taken out. What do you think?
Well, most of the people we had in mind are dead. So, you know, we had some in mind from that group that is dead. And now we have another group. They may be dead also, based on reports.
CNN's Nick Payton-Walsh joins us live now from northern Israeli city of Kiryat Shimona. So, Nick, just in terms of the compound where several Iranian officials have gathered to choose the next supreme leader, just walk us through what we know in terms of that compound being targeted.
Yeah, sure. Now, the images are publicly available of significant damage to this compound in the city of Qom, where the assembly of experts, according to Israeli sources, gathered, that's 88 senior clerics, to essentially choose the new supreme leader. Iranian state media, though, is saying that the building was evacuated prior to the strike, essentially saying that the bid by the Israelis here to kill the committee that would anoint the Ayatollah successor was unsuccessful. We don't know the truth of the matter here, and it's important to point out that earlier on, you know, when we were seeing significant casualties amongst Iran's leadership, we were getting signals from Iranian state media that many of them were actually okay. So it's important here to try and assess the exact truth of all of this. Remarkable, frankly, if indeed 88 senior clerics charged.
In my head canon, I'm thinking that Donald Trump wants to be a part of the cleric meet, and that's why he's doing this, where he's like, I want to be the one who picks the new Ayatollah. I have complete command over Shia Islam. I've been reading the scripture. I've been reading the surahs. I have complete command over this religion. I would like to be a part of the decision-making process. And I think that's what it is. Some military commanders have reportedly been accused of telling the troops that the Iran war is part of a biblical plan that triggered the end times. I know. I got that too. Don't worry. Iran live updates. Trump says Navy will escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. I genuinely don't understand why Donald Trump thinks this is a good idea. Are you actively putting American troops in harm's way? Okay? This is how you do it. We all know what image we're thinking of, right? It's the image of naval assets being sunk in the Strait of Hormuz, directly in striking distance. Okay? They will fucking pepper that shit with drones. I know these guys have complicated equipment. I know these ships have like tremendous defenses, but if you are trying to Pearl Harbor your naval assets, as the IRGC Mosaic teams are using it as like target practice, slow moving target practice with like drone swarms and ballistic missiles as well. I mean, go ahead, but I feel like this is I don't think this is a smart idea. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they have the smoke. Maybe they have the capabilities of like stopping. Maybe they have the capabilities of stopping the launchers ahead of time, but this seems like an unnecessary risk to take. Yeah, especially, I mean, dude, listen. I feel like the Houthis are also waiting to get active. Our Navy is outdated. No, it's not. That's not true. We have a remarkable Navy. We have all the sophisticated equipment, but it doesn't matter. You can have the best equipment, but if the opposition has unlimited missile barrages, the most sophisticated equipment of all time, which would be like the entire Israeli ballistic and short-range missile defense systems, still fucking fall apart. And we're talking about a much shorter range at this point. We're talking about a much shorter ballistics trajectory and much less sophisticated equipment. There's no like early advanced warning systems that are calculating missile trajectory ahead of time, warning the Israeli defenses ahead of time as the missile is like traversing, 300 plus kilometers. We're talking about a missile that's just immediately launched and then struck. It's like it's a very different ball game at that point. And I don't know how you get away with that. I don't know how you deal with that. Especially considering that Dubai and Riyadh and Bahrain especially Bahrain is a great example of what Iran has within its capabilities, especially in short distance, right? Like fresh off the U.S. fleeing the Gulf of Aden because semi-state actor Houthis missiles were too dangerous for our gold-plated fleet. Trump has a brilliant idea. Exactly. Like, we literally, okay, a lot of people get mad at me and say, Hasan, you love the Houthis, like they're fucking reactionary, blah, 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 all this shit. But the Houthis were not only totally vindicated in their actions as far as the blockade on the Red Sea, but the Houthis also straight up caused the American Navy to evade the targeting distance of the Houthis. And they don't have as sophisticated equipment. Their equipment is nowhere near as sophisticated as the Iranians are, right? Iran is the main funder and main Iran is basically the ones that are making the fucking missiles and the munitions and sending it to the Ansar Allah movement in Yemen. Like, I don't know how if you had a hard time with, as Mark Ames said, the semi-state actor, the Ansar Allah movement, how the fuck do you deal with the Iranians right in their backyard? It's pretty wild how spectacular of a failure this has been. And the only W you have to carry for this whole thing, the only W that you can lean into is that you assassinated an 86-year-old man. It is in his home. And it's mind-boggling to me that they keep running around and talking about how exceptional the intelligence has been. It's like, what intelligence? You killed the 86-year-old leader of the fucking state in his home. What level of intelligence is required to find out that the dude was at his house? It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling to me that they're running around being like, dude, Mossad intelligence on top, baby. It's like, bro, he's at his fucking house. He's at his house. You killed him at his house. What do you mean? This wasn't some remarkable feat. And if we're going to talk about intelligence failures, you also blew up a fucking school with little schoolgirls in it, with like 150 plus little girls going to school. Yeah, they were like, just in, Israel spent years hacking Tehran's traffic cameras and monitoring bodyguards before assassinating Iranian Supreme Leader Khamenei. I said, you can't claim shit like this and then also act like October 7 was a total surprise. And this is also correct. They murdered an 86-year-old man, one who was willing to be a martyr in his home. I don't think it takes great intelligence to do that. It's like, oh, dude, this was a very sophisticated strike. This was a very sophisticated strike. Okay, what am I supposed to believe here? It doesn't require tremendous sophistication when the dude is just unguarded. He's just at his house. They're trying to sell it as a lot more intelligent than they actually are. That's what it is. Mossad does have some capabilities. Okay, Mossad does have some unique capabilities in clandestine operations and like penetrating deep into Iranian governance, the IRGC. There's suspicion that like the one Quds force commander that keeps like evading all of the Israeli airstrikes might have been a Mossad asset all along. They do stuff like that from time to time, but they also greatly overemphasize their capabilities. Like they regularly lie about how sophisticated their methods are. This is one of those instances, right? Like you're being ridiculous. Like you're trying to do marketing. You're trying to do fucking marketing when you talk about like, oh, we killed the Ayatollah. It was a really crazy operation. It's like, yeah, dude, he was 86 years old. He was at his house. Okay, he was at his house. You're just trying to do marketing. Calm the fuck down, okay? In any case, getting back to where we were at, brother, have you actually spoken to a Persian about this? His house is the safest space in Tehran. His house doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Clearly, objectively, that wasn't the case. It is actually. It was. Okay, so why the fuck did they try to move him to a basement or a safe site? And he refused. Also, I do want to, it was well guarded in Tehran. Oh, brother, there is no such thing, okay? There is no such thing. There is no such thing. I need you to understand. There is no such thing, okay? You have to move out of your house unless you want to get fucking lasered. America has bunker busters. What are you fucking talking about? There is no bunker capability in the world that can evade American bunker busters, okay? It's simple. You just run away if you want to evade the American bombing campaigns. If you wanted to survive, you wouldn't be at your house. Yes, but it's 300 feet underground. Brother, do you not hear what I'm saying? He'd be in the fucking mountains, okay? He'd be in the fucking mountains. If they actually found out that he was in the goddamn mountains and they blew him up in the mountains, then I would say, okay, that's like a sophisticated surveillance operation. They actually found him as he was evading American bombing campaigns. They didn't find him in the mountains. They found him in his home. Here is Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, trying to do a cleanup job after yesterday's incident where he haphazardly threw together a narrative so bad that the overwhelming majority of Republicans that heard it went, wait a minute, maybe Jews do control America. Literally. Like, he came out and was like, Benjamin Netanyahu urged us to do this. He forced our hand into doing this. And then literally Matt Walsh and numerous other fucking Republicans came out and were like, okay, I guess Zog is not even a theory anymore. It's just reality. Meanwhile, you motherfuckers are talking about like, oh, you're losing the narrative. Now he's going to backtrack. Let's hear.
Can never have a nuclear weapon. Number one, we are going to destroy their missiles and their missile launchers. We are going to destroy their capability to make these missiles and these launchers, and we are going to destroy their Navy. Those are the objectives, and this weekend, acting at this time, gave us the highest probability of success in achieving those objectives, and as the Department of War will brief you, we are on or ahead of schedule to do that.
So the U.S. attack would have happened no matter what? Would the U.S. attack about no matter what Israel's planning?
Oh, I hate the media so much. They're such fucking dogs, dude. They're just like trying to get him to say the right thing so they can report it as a matter of fact that it wasn't Israel.
And that's what you're seeing play out right now. You're seeing it play out right now, and you'll see it in the days to come. We will systematically take apart their missile program. We will destroy their sponsor terrorism, by the way. We will destroy their factories. We will destroy their Navy. Those objectives are going to be met. We're well on our way to meeting them. It will not be easy. There will be a price to pay for it, but that is a much lower price to pay than having a nuclear-armed Iran. I got to go brief these guys. Hold on. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Secretary, how heavily is the administration leaning into the 2001 AUMF for justification of these strikes?
What now?
How heavily is the administration?
Well, that's not our notification to Congress. Our notification, listen, let me explain to you guys this in simple English. Okay? Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics. They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons. They intend to develop those nuclear weapons behind a program of missiles and drones and terrorism that the world will not be able to touch them for fear of those things. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their Navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make those things so that they can never have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president made this decision. It was the right decision. And the world will be a safer place when these radical clerics no longer have access to these weapons. You see how they're using them now. Imagine how they would use them a year from now if they had more of these. All right, I got time for one more. Yeah, go ahead.
Brother, we're seeing how you're using your weapons now.
Democrats criticize what you said and argue that
the question is, several Democrats criticize. They're going to always criticize. We've been doing this for years, guys. They come out. I'll tell you right now, they're going to come out after the briefing and say, we didn't hear anything. We have more questions than answers. You mark my words. But we still do these briefings. Go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, their criticism was on the timeline. They said that Israel is dictating the timeline for the United States.
No,
and as you know, several people on the right have also agreed with that. How would you respond to that?
Well, The United States made a decision. Under the President of the United States made a decision. This is intolerable. Iran cannot have these missiles, cannot have these drones, cannot threaten the world. The President said this is the weakest they've ever been. If we don't hit them now, a year from now, a year and a half from now, no one will be able to touch them, and they'll be able to do whatever they want. And he made a decision to go. And he made a decision to go in a joint operation because it gave us the highest chance of success. And he made the decision to go first because he concluded that we were not going to get hit first. We were not going to absorb a blow from them.
This is such a bad way to fucking posture. It's
because
so,
in addition to costing lives,
it literally doesn't make sense
of our operation. All right, guys, I gotta go.
I don't know why they're still going with it. He should have just said, I misspoke or something. It's so crazy. But here it is. Here is yesterday's spectacular failure one more time.
With a very clear goal in mind. I haven't
Motherfuckers were literally, they couldn't believe it. They were like, is this real?
got a chance to see a lot of reporting. I don't understand what the confusion is. Let me explain it to you, and I'll do it once again as clearly as possible. Perhaps you'll report it that way. The United States is conducting an operation to eliminate the threat of Iran's short-range ballistic missiles and the threat posed by their Navy, particularly to naval assets. That is what it is focused on doing right now, and it's doing quite successfully. I'll leave it to the Pentagon and the Department of War to discuss the tactics behind that and the progress that's being made. That is the clear objective of this mission. The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond and respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true because, in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision.
So you couldn't stop Israel from striking, is what you're admitting. So you just chose to go in with them. Again, who's the big dog in the room? Is Israel controlling America, or is America controlling Israel? You can't come out and say America, the most powerful nation on the planet, literally was goaded into going to war with a foreign adversary at the behest of the client state. You can't do that, okay? You can't fucking do that. Or rather, you can't just come out and say that and then expect people not to go, what the fuck? Especially when there are a shit ton of people who already had this suspicion due to the Biden administration's unlimited support during Israel's genocide in Gaza. Red line after red line after red line withered away people's confidence that the American government was in control of the situation. Slowly but surely, over the course of 2.5 years, as people's attitudes towards Israel shifted into the negative, red line after red line, every single time there was another 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 100,000 Americans going, wait a minute, who's the fucking big dog in the room? So much so that Donald Trump was able to take advantage of that anger and resentment that people felt towards the Democratic Party and conducting this genocide and win. All right, let's move on from this. I haven't even watched the first video yet.
With those flashes of fire overnight, explosions rocked Beirut. The war expanding this morning to another front, with tanks and troops, Israel announcing the deployment of ground forces into southern Lebanon. The U.S.-Israeli war with Iran is now entering its 4th day after that surprise strike Saturday on Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, which also killed dozens of senior Iranian officials. Israel releasing this video of its destruction of what it said was a regime headquarters complex over the weekend, also a main target for the U.S. and Israel missile launchers.
This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the entire...
Dude, every time he's on camera asked about this or has to talk about this, he looks like shit. Every time Donald Trump goes on camera to be like, we're striking Iran for Israel, I love Israel, every fucking time he speaks, he looks like absolute dog shit, dude. He is not having a good time right now. When I heard him earlier this morning talk about like Reza Pahlavi and also about like other options and shit, I was like, damn, he is not. I don't know. his posture has changed dramatically. It kind of feels like he wants to pull out, but he's kind of stuck at this very moment. And he's just going further and further into the depths of hell.
Horrible threats posed by this sick and sinister regime.
The battered regime tried to broadcast strength today with this propaganda video of their underground stockpiles of explosive drones. Buildings leveled across Iran amidst clouds of dust. The wounded lay on rubble-clogged streets. Iran state media claiming nearly 800 people were killed in strikes, over 150 of them schoolgirls in a strike on Minab. Their coffins carried through the streets this morning. And in retaliation, Iran firing wave after wave of drones and missiles at 11 countries in the region, including Israel. One missile obliterating this neighborhood near Jerusalem.
The missile impacted about 15-20 yards in that direction, and a combination of debris and a powerful shockwave literally blew this house down. The only thing that's still standing is that wall.
9 were killed, including several in the bomb shelter that collapsed on Mazal Amari.
They died right next to you, the mother and the son?
But I see the mother and the baby on the floor. She's doing like this, and the little boy, a lot of blood in his face. He's 4 years old. And then the mother in the hospital, the grandmother died.
And Iran's primary offensive capability is its missiles.
It is kind of wild that, like, the only time we see impact sites and, like, human beings and the human toll of this kind of, like, bombing incident is if it happens inside of Tel Aviv. Like, that's it. Think about how much Israel has done that to the Palestinians.
But officials here tell me that the U.S. and Israel hope to have destroyed about 70% of its missile launchers by the end of the week. The ones that remain are underground and harder to reach, Tony, and that as we are staring down a longer war, I'm told, that Iran is preserving.
Do Israel give approval to these strikes? 90%. That was Jerusalem. Sorry. I meant when I say Tel Aviv, I mean inside of Israel.
Some of its missile stockpile because President Trump is talking about a month-long war.
Yeah. Matt, thank you very much. Appreciate it. The barrage of Iranian missile and drone attacks on the Gulf nations is prompting an angry response from their leaders and their people. Imtiaz Tayyab is in one of those countries, Qatar. Imtiaz, good morning to you.
Tony, good morning to you. Well, you could probably hear a Qatari.
I think when they say 70% of the missile stockpiles have been hit, they're lying. Because if that was the case, how the fuck are they still pummeling the Gulf states? How the fuck are they still hitting Israel? You know what I mean?
Military jet just flying above me, and in what has the potential of becoming a major escalation, 6 key Gulf nations are on the verge of ending their...
Sorry, 70% of the launchers, not the stockpiles. I think they're just making it up. They're trying to create confidence in their military operation. Because they like the only way to fully understand how much success they've actually achieved in terms of deteriorating Iranian capacity would be with the frequency and the impact of the strikes. If there are no more strikes, then you know. If there are significantly less strikes, then you know.
Neutrality in the U.S. and Israel's war against Iran after accusing Tehran of, quote, reckless and indiscriminate attacks on their territories. The aftermath at the U.S. Embassy.
I have not seen an attack personally. I drive all around Qatar. I feel like if there was a hit, people would know about it. No, I'm not talking about Qatar. I'm talking about they have focused their efforts on the UAE, Bahrain, and Kuwait. But as far as like them hitting Israel is what I was talking about. But the launchers that they target are just like single-use trucks, basically. I mean, it'd be probably nice if they didn't. I'm sure from their perspective, they would love to use them multiple times. But for the most part, these are technicals or like somewhat more advanced than technicals. Like they're not taking out the launching platforms for some of the better missile systems. Chief, I don't think they hit the destroyer. We'll learn. soon enough. I mean, there's also a lot of inconsistency on the supposed claims by CENTCOM. Yeah, U.S. Secretary of War stated this morning. Here, let's take a look at some of the things that they hit in the videos. They're saying this is one of the missile launchers that they blew up. This one is already destroyed. I can't tell if this one's already destroyed as well, but they're expended and also could be a decoy. Is that a decoy or is that like, because sometimes they leave out older equipment or equipment that's been struck already. Or they literally will just like use it one time and then leave it. Yeah, they're used up ones for the ICBM. They've shown 3 different ones being blown up. Again, the only way that you find out, on top of this video on CENTCOM, it seems only one real Shahed 136 in the middle of this video. The rest are cheap decoys, even without winglets. For comparison, first screen with multiple decoys and second screen with a real Shahed. I suspect that with heavy Israeli-U.S. bombardment, the Iranians might be doing this. Learn from last time. Wait for Israel to waste missiles on decoys and come out blazing at Israeli Gulf targets an hour later. Yeah, they have. They also have like older. Holy fuck! Nobody's vaporizing all of Iran's TELs. That's just not happening. They're not sophisticated pieces of hardware. They're literally just trucks. These aren't HIMARS or M270s that need a year-long lead time. They can be fabricated in a garage in a day by 3 incredibly shit-faced people or just one sober dude. On top of that, as others have pointed out, the Chinese automotive market is flush with diesel trucks specifically, especially since China's both moving towards EVs and its infrastructure expansion projects bottomed out, and they're cheap as shit. The delusion that we can just bomb our way through erasing their stockpile of TELs is quite frankly detached from reality. Did you see the U.S. copy of the Shahed drone? Oh, I did, yeah. Locals in Iraq appear to have recovered a crashed and almost entirely intact low-cost unmanned combat attack system, Lucas, an American copy of the Iranian Shahed 136 attack drone, which is confirmed to have been used recently by Task Force Scorpion Strike during U.S. attacks on Iran as a part of Operation Epic Fury. Operation Epic Fail, once again, delivering us incredible content. Like, it's either, dude, when do you even tweet while I'm live? TEL is pronounced TEL, Transporter Erector Launcher. Every rocket they shoot at these drones is so much more expensive. Pretty stupid to admit that, in my honest opinion. Yeah, there's also that. But yeah, when Operation Epic Fail is not, horrifying, when it's not being horrifying with like, slaughtering of children and things like that, it's actually pretty funny in these moments. Operation Epic Chungus, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Is that a Starlink panel? Is that a fucking Starlink panel hanging off of it? Oh my God. That's beautiful.
Comedy.
Both sides are using Starlink, by the way. There's 0% chance that the Iranians are using Starlink. I don't think it's Star Shield for the record. Yes, I know. It's Star Shield. I know. Elon Musk has Starlink and then he has Star Shield for non-commercial use for the Defense Department. Lucas drones used by the U.S. in strikes against Iran. The United States has for the first time employed one-way attack drones in combat. They resemble Iran's Shahed 136 and Russia's Garan 2 drones that cost $40,000 each. They feature SpaceX Starlink's terminals and fly at 120 miles per hour. It's funny because, again, even then, this fucking lawnmower is still like double the cost of the Shahed drone. The entire point of the Shahed drones is that it's cheap to make. And when America's making it, it's still double the cost. Incredible. 7 tankers going towards Iraq. 7 U.S. Air Force tankers took off from Tel Aviv and are headed towards Iraq. That's for strike teams, right? I assume.
After being struck by 2 Iranian drones, the empty compound suffered, quote, minor material damage, according to the Saudi Ministry of Defense. It follows a major Iranian attack on the vast Saudi Arabian oil refinery Ras Tanura, the country's largest. Since the start of the U.S. and Israel's war with Iran, Tehran has shocked the region by firing hundreds of missiles and drones at every state across the Gulf, hitting luxury hotels in Dubai,
oh my God,
residential areas in Doha, targets in Bahrain and Kuwait, as well as vital seaports and waterways in Oman, forcing airspace closures and grinding trillion-dollar economies to a halt. Iran's aim is to pressure Gulf monarchies to call on Washington and Israel to end the war, but Tehran's calculus appears to be backfiring. For the first time, Qatar's Air Force shot 2 Iranian bombers out of the sky after the world's largest producer of liquid natural gas had to shut down production following an Iranian strike, marking a major escalation. If the UAE and Bahrain, already tied to Israel through the Abraham Accords, were to join, they already have a clear path to security cooperation.
It's so funny when they talk about the Gulf states joining the battle. To do what? America is already there. What are the fucking Gulf states gonna do? Like, no disrespect. You know, Qatar, wonderful place. Loved visiting it. Would love to go back in the future. But like, they don't have like a serious standing military. Yeah, what are they gonna do? Shoot him with oil? Like, yeah, what? No, all they could do is just sit there and absorb the missiles and hope that Iran stops fucking pummeling. The biggest problem is it's the American soldiers that like leave the bases. If they stuck by the bases, which they won't because the bases are unguarded, then it would be fine. No missiles would be hitting fucking hotels or anything like that, or civilian infrastructure. But it's very clear that they're like blowing up specific targets, specifically CIA assets or soldiers that are like making dual use cases out of civilian infrastructure.
But Saudi Arabia has had to deny reports it encouraged the U.S. and Israel to start the war as it continues to grapple with regional pressure and domestic opinion.
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first.
Can you imagine doing a crime with this guy, by the way? He's like the favorite criminal of every prosecutor. It's impossible to get your story straight. It's impossible to get your story straight with this guy. He is straight up going to, one, reveal it in a weak moment when he feels like it. And then after Marco Rubio comes out and is supposed to do like the competent response, it's like, oh, well, you see, that's not how it is. He just goes out and he fucks it up again.
So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready. And we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, you know, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised.
They're like, why are they doing that? I don't know. We got our bases there. Maybe that's why. Of course, no one in American news is going to put 2 and 2 together there. They're not going to be like, hey, maybe it has something to do with the fact that our bases are there. Like, ask Trump where the American soldiers have died. What country's soil did they die on?
I think and now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them. Someday they'll write a story and they'll say why they did that, but they hit countries that had nothing to do with what's going on. They were sort of leaving everything alone. All of a sudden, they had missiles shot in, which shows you the level of evil that we're dealing with. They'll hit people that were actually at least somewhat friendly, and they had no problems with it. Also hitting only civilian places, hotels and apartment buildings, and we're hitting them.
Again, an American saying this is so funny. Where did the soldiers die, Trump? Where did the soldiers die? How did they die? Also, to say, to be like, oh yeah, they're only hitting civilian strikes. It's like the civilian targets. Look how evil. You're America, brother. You literally killed 150. You killed 150 little girls, man. Shut the fuck up.
Merz, you just heard that the president is thinking about punishing Spain. What are your thoughts spontaneously on this, and what can you do to,
Well, the answer on that is quite simple. We are trying to convince Spain to catch up with the 3% or 3.5%.
God, the fucking European Union is disgusting. Okay? NATO is disgusting. The EU is disgusting. There's like at least one country with a little bit of fucking backbone. And there you have German Chancellor being like, oh, we are trying to convince them, yeah. We would love the austerity, please. You need to do austerity. You need to purchase more weapons, yeah.
Which we agreed on in NATO, and as the president said, it's correct. Spain is the only one who is not willing to accept that, and we are trying to convince them that this is a part of our common security that we all have.
Dude, it's crazy. Like everyone, all my Spanish chatters always make fun of me whenever Pedro does something good, and you guys are like, oh, you got what is it, PSO'd? Like, oh, he just does aesthetically the good thing. You do the aesthetically good thing, but you don't actually follow through on it, whatever. Right? But honestly, in comparison to the average neoliberal vampire, Spain is several cuts above. Like, I know the bar is really fucking low. Not King of Spain. Once again, I had nothing to do with it. But like, compare the Spanish party, Spanish governance to like Merz. Compare him to Maloney. Compare him to Keir Starmer. Like, he looks like a fucking Stalinist in comparison. It's not even like, it's not that he's very good. Okay? It's not that he's great. But like, in comparison to other European leaders, he just straight up, he's doing Spanish Jusha, like somewhat competent, somewhat standing up against like American, ridiculous American demands.
To comply with this numbers, and this is 3 points.
Don't worry, the Soc Dems are still doing nothing materially, and the far right will win the next elections here. You pronounce it PSOAD, but PSOAD sounds so fucking funny. I love it. Yeah, PSOAD.
5 for military and another 1.5 for our military interest.
I mean, they're far, far from any Russian threat. Oh, brother. Really? What about the fucking UK then? Like, what are you talking about? I gave you an example. Oh my God. Yeah, that's why they can refuse to align with America and increase their military expenditure by 5% of their GDP, which is going to be crippling the entire economy and destroy the existing social safety nets. Oh, I'm sorry. God damn, dude. What about all the other fucking countries that are further away than Spain? Oh my God, perma-Russian brain rot. Holy fuck, every time, dude. Meanwhile, who you're doing this for is a country that literally just said, its leader just said, I am going to force my military on your soil, which is invading your country. I'm going to invade your country. If I want to, I can invade your country. Who's a bigger threat now?